November 1st, 1348. The streets of London were carrying on with their usual morning crowd amid the misty air. People were heading to the market, the docks, and the shops. No one had any idea of the approaching disaster. But on that day, one of history's deadliest pandemics had already slipped through the city gates, and London's fate was about to change forever. In this video, we will take a detailed look at the arrival of the Black Death in London, its symptoms, its impact on society, and the immense fear experienced by the people. If you're ready, let's journey together to the darkest days of the Middle Ages. By the mid-1340s, Europe was facing a nightmare it had never encountered before. The Black Death was spreading rapidly westward from Central Asia, carried by traders, soldiers, and ships. There was no way to stop it. People didn't know about germs, nor did they understand how the disease was transmitted. At the time, the most common belief was that the plague spread through bad air, or miasma. The truth was far more dangerous. The plague was transmitted from person to person via fleas on rats. It is believed that the disease likely reached England on a trading ship arriving at the southern coast. Some of the crew aboard the ship that docked at Southampton were already sick, while others had died. As the mysterious reports of death spread to inland areas, no one realized that this was the beginning of a wave that would devastate an entire nation. And when the calendar showed November 1st, 1348, the Black Death had officially reached London. At that time, London had a population of around 80,000, making it one of England's most densely populated cities. Narrow streets, homes without proper sewage systems, and heaps of garbage. The city provided a perfect environment for the disease to spread. The first signs were subtle. A few sudden deaths in one neighborhood. The next day, a family fevered in another street. Soon the deaths began to rise rapidly. The symptoms of bubonic plague were swift and excruciating. Sudden swellings in the groin and underarms, dark, pus-filled buboes, high fever, unbearable body aches, weakness and confusion, often death within 2 to 3 days. If the disease reached the bloodstream in its septicemic form, death was almost instantaneous. This horrifying process was interpreted by many as divine punishment, with some believing it to be a consequence of their sins. By early 1349, the city was in complete chaos. Nearly 200 bodies were transported daily to mass graves outside London. Clergy could not keep up with the burials, and some people were unable to bury even their own family members. Houses were marked, neighborhoods quarantined, but these measures largely failed because no one knew the true cause of the disease. The tolling of bells from the streets announced the presence of the plague. In some areas, people did not venture outside for days, and doors were nailed shut from the inside. Fear was so pervasive that people avoided even their closest relatives. The Black Death did not only claim low lives, it also collapsed the city's order and economy. A large portion of the workforce perished. Agricultural production came to a halt. Prices soared. Some villages were completely abandoned. Merchants could no longer open shops, ports closed, and trade stopped. England experienced one of the greatest economic and social collapses in its history. By the 1350s, the epidemic began to subside. Yet, it left behind profound trauma. Around 30 to 40% of England's population, almost half, was wiped out. This catastrophe fundamentally transformed medieval society, leading to increased workers' rights, the weakening of the feudal system, and laying the groundwork for the first steps toward the modern world. Many historians consider the Black Death one of the most significant turning points in European history. November 1st, 1348, is not just a date. It marks a dark beginning that changed the fate of a city, a country, and a continent. In this video, we explored the historic day when London first encountered the Black Death. If you want to continue traveling through the dark periods of history with us, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you at the next historic event.